You are now listening to Handsome Reads. Howdy, stranger. It's been so long since we last had a moment to sit and chat. About a week ago. Unless, of course, you were swamped by life and forced to put me down for a little bit. No, wait a minute. Now wait, hold on. Hold on. What? Swamped? What would? My sincerest apologies. The word is swamped. Okay? Now back to the episode. There's no hard feelings. I understand how it can be sometimes. Gentle reminder though, for as long as this community exists, it's only ever going to be relaxation and positive vibes. So come as you are, there is no judgment here. I'll spare you the whole reminder to like and subscribe and comment. I think today calls for less marketing and more storytelling. So, do enjoy today's episode titled Face the Music, which stays with the Martin brothers and their family as we pick up where we left off. Set in the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The temperature had dropped with the coming of the rain. The rooftop, an instrument on which the night sky drummed a happy tune. Beneath the greenhouse ceiling, Ma Faina and Rand lay next to each other, a mixture of sweat and grit clinging to their skin and clothes. Rand was content to lie next to his mother and mentor. The anger that had ridden him since that departure on the hill temporarily sated. Finally, albeit briefly, he could enjoy the feel of being in good company. Groaning at the bruise that he sported on his left shoulder, he rolled to his right to stare at her as she rested. She still had the face of the woman that he had first met more than a decade ago as a 14-year-old. A dewy complexion of creamy ivory was the ideal palette for all those tattoos. Her eyes, closed for now, were all too familiar, weighted as they were with a lifetime of bad experiences. Her lashes were long and curling towards the end, while whispers of age dusted her mouth, finally catching up with the rest of her body. Grinning, he leaned in for a closer look. It was highly unlikely that she was asleep, probably indulging his curiosity in ways that would have once been alien to her. Either way, he could not stop his eyes from filling with wonder, tracing the round, slightly sunken scar resting on her shoulder. He hadn't known her then, when she was a woman of even fewer words and eyes that held the promise of death. But he knew her now, a woman of strict rituals, regardless of the proceedings of the night before. Every morning, since he had come into her life, she would be up before anyone else in the house. There were times he would be creeping through the house at 3 in the morning with Liam and Aya after having snuck out, and there she would be, the various components of her sleek, glossy, well-oiled pistol spread out on her mattress. With horn speed, she would put it all back together, only to dismantle and repeat those same steps tirelessly. Ma Faina was different now. Not so much a recluse as she once was. The transitions of her life had done nothing to curb her tactical mindset, however. In fact, it had only worsened, given that she now had something to protect other than herself. Countless days lined up in the yard as she put them all through basic self-defense paces and meditation stances. What? She asked, eyes still closed with her accent not as rich as when they had first met. Thank you, Wrand replied over the beat of the rain. It is nothing, my son. What hounds you so? This time, she turned her head slightly to stare at him, eyes searching his face for the truth. Closing his own, so she would not see too deeply into his soul, Wrand pushed up to a seated position. Throwing an arm around his shoulders, she used her other hand to grip his chin. Go grab a shower. We will continue to discuss this in the study. Nodding slowly, knowing there was a reason why he had come to visit other than family time, Wrand pushed to his feet. Extending a hand to her, Wrand pulled her to her feet, eyes drawn to the tattooed hand that shifted around her neck each time she swallowed. Patting his arm in thanks, she turned to shuffle away, bones and muscles stiff from having remained on the ground for too long. Wrand watched her go, the Russian folklore tattoo peeking over the back of her black sparring tank top. Toweling off the rest of his hair, Wrand padded on bare feet through the house, past two doors that led to where Liam and Aya rested respectively. For Wrand, there would be no sleep, his body still humming from the earlier sparring session, mind going over every parry and hit in an effort to improve. Stopping before the double doors that led to the grand study room in which he had gained the proficiency of languages and other useful tricks, he paused to gather his thoughts before clearing them one by one. Time to face the music, he told himself. They sat regally, the three bald queens of this Santa Cruz estate. Ma Shamara sat at the center of the three chairs, Ma Alice to her left, and Ma Faina, showered and changed, sitting to the right. Before them lay more of those freshly baked coconut tarts and a fresh batch of the homemade cocoa. Wrand couldn't remember the last time his palms had sprung water. Possibly the last time they had all looked at him with such concern. He should have expected no less, for this was what love looked like. Alice's unconditional warmth, Shamara's 360-degree perspectives, and Faina's bluntness. Yeah, he thought, closing the door behind him. There would be no sleep. Sweet boy, Ma Alice greeted him with that gentle spirit of hers, brown eyes warm in the flicker of the lamp. Strong son, Ma Shamara greeted, motioning for him to have a seat. Son, Ma Faina greeted, a slight incline of her head. Mothers, Wrand returned. Talk to me, sweet boy. Phi tells us you are troubled. Angling down the path of self-destruction is a more apt description, Faina corrected. Easy, Faina, Shamara cautioned. Speak, son, and do so freely. Rand's eyes jumped from face to face before finally surrendering to their silent call to bare his soul. She walked away, he started. Wrand spoke for an hour, riding the waves of emotions that came with rehashing his feelings while the women did nothing but listen. Their expressions changed, yet they offered no verbal interruption, not even when he reached the violent part of his story. Instead, Ma Shamara nodded her head slightly in agreement, whether with approval or agreement that he was indeed filled with too much darkness. Wrand was unsure. God has a plan for all of us, my dear, Ma Alice offered, ever the bright soul in Wrand's gloom. Sometimes we fight to hold on to the very things the big man upstairs is taking away. But Ma, how many do you know have the type of bond that she and I share? Listen to your mother first, Wrand. Absorb it before you just comment off the top, Ma Shamara responded. Do you realize you haven't said her name once? What need is there? Wrand asked. Everyone knows who I am talking about. Ma Alice smiled, the way she did whenever she was about to enter her infinite wisdom mode, as Liam dubbed it. That is the point, darling. You speak her name for you, not us. Why? Every time I say her name, it makes me feel. He trailed off, comprehension spreading across his features, thick brows almost touching as he scowled. Say it more often. Face your issues until they no longer are an issue, Ma Shamara pressed. So you suggest that I just give her up? I can't. I won't. I wouldn't say give her up per se, just take a time out and focus on finding your inner peace. Then stay bitter. The latter statement drew a hush as Ma Faina finally spoke up, face devoid of the compassion her sisters so easily displayed. You love her, yes? Yes, Ma, Rand replied. Then let her go, Ma Faina continued. Rand's mind bucked at the command, body feeling light, even as the reins holding his anger at bay grew taut. Or you can hold on now and lose her forever, Ma Shamara offered cheerfully. Rand, Ma Alice said his name gently, a soft hand to steer him from the self-destructive road ahead. What is to be, will be, my son. Nodding numbly, Rand looked at the floor, unsure of his next step. One by one, the woman got up to press a kiss to his bowed head and offer a word of encouragement before slipping from the room. Only Ma Faina remained, a steely grip on his shoulder. What will you do? Go for a run, he replied, voice gruff. You will be fine, she replied. You have made it this far, and you shall go even further. Later into the night, standing by her window, Ma Faina looked out to the line of trees surrounding the estate as she often did. Most nights, she saw nothing, and the rain that sluiced down her window pane now made it even more difficult. Yet she stared, eyes following the brown mass that made a beeline towards the forest. He moved fast, never slowing as he broke into the shrubbery, as if trying to attempt the impossible, outrunning his own thoughts. End of episode. Parting is such sweet sorrow. But alas, it is a necessity as you do have your life to get back to. Thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing me to accompany you for this last couple of minutes. And I pray you enjoy the rest of your day just as much as you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, and as always, love and light.